Yep, it's time again. Hello, House users here, and yep, we're into the 12 Days of Christmas thing. I enjoyed doing it last year, so I'm back doing it again. Now, I know I've not got my glasses I was wearing last year. They are on the way. Just go to set up the tree tomorrow. But it will be there for this next review, I promise. But in the meantime, let's start with our first review. And last year I started off with Home Alone, and now we move on to Home Alone 2. Couldn't think of any way better to say that, so here we go. So, if you remember correctly, when I did Home Alone as my first review last year, I actually stated, while I do enjoy watching the original, I am actually more of a fan of the sequel, and I know that's not really the most popular of statement. I mean, because, well, let's be fair, this is a rehash. But honestly, for a rehash, I find it a lot more funnier and a lot more enjoyable for me. What's the premise? Well, simple as before. The McAllisters are separated again from Kevin, only this time they didn't leave him at home. He ends up in New York. But, so he checks into the Plaza Hotel and, yep, there you go. But the wet bandits also now here, now known as the Sticky Bandits, and trying to rob a toy store. So Kevin's trying to make sure who was planning to donate money to a children's hospital, and Kevin wants to help out. Basically, all you get. And yeah, it is rehashed material, and that's the biggest problem. There's not much originality in the movie, and to be honest, with so much rehash, many people watching it could get really bored unless you're a huge fan of the first movie, or I don't know, maybe if this is the first Home Alone movie you see. And I'm actually in that second category. This is actually the first Home Alone movie I watched, or shall I say, watched the whole way through. I don't know, just a kid getting separated, getting lost in a city is more better than him getting left at home. For me, is a bit more of a better concept, I think. This is often considered where John Hughes movies sort of went dipped in quality, but honestly, I still think this is a better movie than, say, the next movie he did, Baby's Day Out, which caught up right now, and I still remember that movie. Maybe it's because it was the first review I did when the pandemic began. Sorry I had to bring that up. I didn't intend to bring that. But anyway, what is good in this movie? Well, much like the first movie, Macaulay Culkin provides most of the heart of it. I mean, I know this is where he started to become more of a marketing appeal, but let's be fair, he knows the series in and out and still gives the charm he does with Kevin. The wet band's also good, so, you know, Joe Pesci and Daniel Stern, they're great. And the next big inclusion, Tim Curry. I mean, you can put Tim Curry in anything, and he does a good job. He's absolutely funny. In that scene where he realizes that Kevin has a stolen credit card, and he used to check into his hotel, and how you go from the Grinch, the smile of the Grinch, to Tim Curry, priceless. And that scene with one of the best scenes in the movie definitely is the shower scene where Kevin used a recording of his uncle to fool Tim Curry to believe his father's actually in the hotel room that he's staying in. That's one of the best scenes in it. And how Kevin's able to pull it off. The climax is also good. I mean, all the traps are great. They do really well. I love all the traps in this, especially I love for the wet bandits try to get learn from their mistakes in the first movie with the paint buckets, and after they think all the paint buckets are done, they walk up the stairs, whack, they get hit by another piece of construction equipment. Then Kevin cuts it down and lands on their face in this giant hole. When there's the toolbox going down, hitting the door that they're leaning towards and slamming them against the wall, the kerosene rope, the when they get shot, when I think it's when one of the bands gets shot by touches the I think some wires or something and gets electrocuted, and you see skeleton. That's funny, and when I think whoever, and when one of them gets the his head on fire again and then duck his head into the nearby toilet, only Kevin's put very flammable fluid in there, and that's funny. The climax is always going to be great. And there's this old homeless lady that Kevin meets, and this is very similar to the neighbor who Kevin meets from the first movie, who Kevin thinks is a bit crazy and he's afraid of, so he tries to avoid him but eventually learns to trust him. Well, it's the same thing here, but I find the homeless lady a bit better, honestly. It's just me. I think she's a lot more sweet, and the ending where Kevin gives her first Christmas gift is very sweet. But, you know, overall, look, I'm not going to say this is for everyone. I think most people agree, kind of think this is a bit lame, and I can understand that. But for me, I honestly think Home Alone 2 is the better movie. I mean, I still like Home Alone 1, I will enjoy it, but for me, this is what I like most. And I'm going to get, and well, that's basically all I could say about that. And while I gave Home Alone 1 last year 6 out of 10 has stars, this one gets a 7.5 out of 10 has stars. So 1.5 stars extra. Yeah, as I said, not for everyone, but for me, the sequel's where it's at. So, first review done for this year. For this year's Christmas, and I'm glad I'm doing this. Really, yeah, I really am. I'm just glad I'm finally doing these reviews again for Christmas and everything. So what's next? Well, next up is a review I've been planning to do for 2 years. Didn't do it in 2018. I just couldn't find time for the Rankin Bass stuff. 29. I was thinking about doing it last year, but I didn't get around to it. But next year, my next review is something I think is one that needs to be done. Absolutely. It's time to do Nightmare Before Christmas, and I have no problem saying what I'm doing next. So, yeah, in the meantime, Handsome House Users out, and I'll catch you later as I see you in Halloween Town and Christmas Town. Ciao.